feel it just like whoosh. Yeah. The one that's sticking out.
Lafayette to Houston. To fixing our laws and saving. Introduce Senator Warner to speak.
All of us feel passionately about in terms of one side or the other on Iran. And there are not many things that would take away from that debate. Such a leader that for us to take effort to join with you about the need to bring common sense legislation to America. I know this is a rally, but I just want to reflect a little bit the fact that Smith Mountain Lake, where now Smith Mountain Lake joins that litany of Aurora and Sandy Hook and Tucson and Virginia Tech. The Parker family and the world talked to Tim the other day to be able to get back to her job at the
get a job in North Carolina, but then she couldn't wait to get back home nearer to Martinsville where she grew up, and she was beloved in the community as a great journalist doing hard-hitting and important stories on issues like child abuse that really mattered. Adam Ward, Allison's dad, I don't know how he has the strength for him. Jokes on the folks on the camera. I told the other day when I met with them that young people, I think I know what the world's lost because I know about people. I don't know what a father's grief is to lose a child because I haven't. Family too. And so too many of these tragedies I've learned. Grief is a natural human condition. Now, the grief that we're here to talk about today. You are refusing to let, yeah, this may be the most painful. Figure out a way to, in the mystery of life, I'm going to figure out a way to really bad. Keep demanding. Responsibility.
and my daughter was. And I'd like to take a moment to thank my governor, Terry McAuliffe. It's important that we laud these leaders that are doing the right thing, and that we have their backs. And I want to take this moment to say thank you. And as Rich and Shannon, I know too that hopefully you have gotten to know me. The people, Mr. Goodlett has failed to even bring up background checks. He has the power to do so, fails to do that. It fails to bring it up for a hearing. And, I thought it was ironic. Late yesterday afternoon, his staff reached out to him and left a message asking me if I would be available to meet with Representative Goodlett at the very time that I'm meeting with you all here. Yeah. Tara, well, I left a message. They left me a message. I left them another message and said, I can tell you that there's no place I'd rather be than in front of all of you here today. But I tell you what, starting tomorrow, I will meet with anyone, any place, any time. So Representative Goodlett, I'm waiting for your call. But sir, I'd like to tell you in advance that if you won't support background checks, we'll find someone else who will. And I'm confident that the 125,000 Everytown supporters in Virginia alone will help me on that mission. Folks, that's what it's going to take to bring about change. Keeping the pressure on our lawmakers until they do the right thing. It's just doing the right thing. And if they won't, we will find their replacement. I want to leave you with one more thought. The weekend before she died, Allison was rafting on the Nantahala River in North Carolina with her mother, her boyfriend, Chris, her close friend, Katie, and me. And it was I don't know why, but it was her favorite place on earth. And she was a brilliant kayaker, and it was a family tradition that we had really just started about 6 years ago. And as an experienced paddler, we told, the couple on our group that hadn't been experienced about it or weren't experienced enough, said, keep the mantra in mind when we confront that big wave at the start of a rapid that's going to try and flip you. Hit it head on and never stop paddling. You just have to paddle through the rapid.
25,000 Virginia Everytown supporters, it's my honor to introduce a champion for gun safety, Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Let me say this. First of all, let me right off. I want to, first of all, to Andy and Barbara and the Ward family, the Gardner family. We went through a very, very tough time 2 weeks ago in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I will say this again. Our hearts are crushed by what happened to our fellow Virginians. And you are in our thoughts today, tomorrow, and I want you to know, on behalf of every Virginian, we will be with you for every single day going forward. You have my word on that. My second message is pretty clear. I am sick and tired of gutless politicians who are scared of the NRA. Do you call this a badge of honor to be bought and paid for by the NRA? When I ran for governor, as you know, I was very aggressive on this issue. In fact, in my last debate, my opponent stood on stage and said, you know what? His big closing argument was, I'm running against the only guy statewide in the history of Virginia to get an F from the NRA. But I made my point clear. I looked at him and I looked out at the audience and I said, let me tell you something. My job as governor is to keep our community safe. That is my most important responsibility. And I need to do everything that I possibly can. And then I said, you see that young man sitting in the front row? This debate was held at Virginia Tech. I said, that young man sitting next to my wife is Colin Goddard. I said, that young man, about 100 yards from where we are today, was shot 4 times during the Virginia Tech massacre. I said, that young man still has 3 bullets in his body. Don't you dare talk to me about a letter grade from the NRA. So, folks, it is time to act. How many of these rallies do we have to have? I think of what then Governor Kane had to go through after the Virginia Tech massacre. How many of these do we have to have? 85% of Americans, according to the Pew Research, support background checks. You can't get 85% of Americans to agree on anything. Are you kidding me? But they agree that we should have background checks. It's time for these folks behind me to get some guts and to stand up for their citizens and vote for background checks for every person in America. And for our Virginians who are here today, I kept my word to you. I sponsored legislation for background checks, and you know what? It didn't see the light of day. It was killed early in the morning committee. Didn't even get a debate on it. I had to veto several bills, one of them related to machine guns in Virginia. Another one I had to veto, which passed our General Assembly. You could carry a loaded gun, a loaded shotgun in your car. But let me tell you, in Virginia, as Tim knows well, we had a tragedy when a state trooper came up on a scene and they were loading that car into the wrecker and that gun went off and killed one of our great Virginia State Police. So, folks, this is real. Now, I can tell you, I'm a gun owner. I've gone through background checks. It takes 3 minutes. And if you have nothing to worry about, I have 5 children. 3 of them are of age to go in a bar. They have to hand over their license so they can get in a bar and buy a beer, but they don't have to hand one over to buy a gun in America. How does that make sense? And you go to the Virginia gun shows, and you walk around, and there are big signs. This booth does not do background checks. Who do you think is going to those booths? People who should not own a gun are the people who are going to that, and senseless violence. So let me just say, folks, this is a call to action. 88 deaths every day. 800 a year. And if you look at the trend charts for young adults today, if the trend continues, more young people will be killed by gun violence than traffic fatalities. This is a crisis in our country. So how do we stop it? It's not just rallies. I'll be very frank with you. I was disgusted last year in the 2014 congressional midterm elections when only 36.7% of eligible voters went to the polls and voted. That is the lowest level in 72 years. So they don't pay a price for not pushing background checks. It's time that they pay a price. It is time they get removed from office. They only get removed if you vote. It's time to get folks out to register to vote, and then you show up for elections. And by the way, I got my entire General Assembly up this year, 2015. Let's get out and show them who runs this country. Thank you.
You're the only governor I got a letter of condolence from. You probably don't remember, but I have a letter of condolence from you.
Thank you, Governor. That was very, very powerful. Next, I am proud to introduce Deandra Yates. Her 13-year-old son, Dre, was shot by a stray bullet at a birthday party. He survived, but he can no longer walk or talk and is in therapy to try and regain basic skills. Deandra.
Good afternoon. You've heard from many people whose stories you've heard in the headlines, but I'm here to share with you the everyday happenings in so many of our neighborhoods. Thank you for having me. This summer, we've seen a rash of gun violence in places that have captured national headlines. But I want to tell you about the shootings that you don't hear about every day. The shootings that are happening in our neighborhoods and are stealing the precious lives of our children and silencing them way too soon. As Shannon stated, on February 1st, 2014, my oldest son, DeAndre, who was 13 at the time, was at a friend's birthday party inside of his home. Before he left, I joked with Dre and I said, you better not touch one little girl in that party. If they try to dance with you, you better throw your hands up and just step back. I never, ever imagined what would come next. The phone call that so many parents dread to hear. Deandra, get to the hospital. Dre's been shot. That night, somebody fired gunshots into the home. Dre was hit in the back left side of his skull. We still don't know who was responsible, and the perpetrator was never apprehended. Doctors initially told me Dre would not survive. He had 8 strokes and suffered a traumatic brain injury. He spent 34 days in the hospital, most of that in the intensive care unit. But my son is a fighter, and he would not give up. After only 2 weeks, he came off of life support. Today, he is working really hard to regain his strength and mobility. He is a fighter, and he is my personal hero. People say to me all the time, you're lucky he's alive. Well, I say I'm blessed that my son was not killed, but there's nothing lucky about Dre's condition. He doesn't walk, he doesn't talk, and he is not the son that I birthed when I was 18 years old. He needs rehabilitation services that are not available in Indianapolis. Me and my family have to drive 4 long hours just to see my son. When I talk to him on the phone, just so he can hear my voice and knows that he hasn't been forgotten, and so that I can tell him I love him. I have to ask the nurse, did Dre react? Did he know it was me on the other line? A single bullet changed our lives. But it was not just my son. This is happening all around the country, in my neighborhood, your neighborhoods, right here in the nation's capital. I am sick of having to console mothers who are burying their child on a weekly basis. You guys, this is heartbreaking. We need a Congress who will put our public safety over the interests of gun lobby and close the loopholes that are making it far too easy for dangerous people, like the person who shot my son, to get guns in their hands. I won't stop, I can't stop, and I stand here saying I will do whatever it takes to prevent another mother from burying her baby. And I often say, I'm a mama that will never shut up. So you will always hear me and you will always see me. This is why I became part of the Everytown Survivor Network, to help elevate stories of gun violence that happens every day in every town. Gun violence in this country has become an epidemic, and we will no longer sit by and allow the silence we have received from our elected officials to continue. We won't go away. I won't go away. We need our children, and our children need us. Thank you.
Thank you, Deandra. Next, we'll be hearing from Reverend Sharon Risher, whose mother Ethel Lance and cousins Susie Jackson and Tywanza Sanders were killed in Charleston at the Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in June 2015. After that tragedy, we declared that we would rise for Charleston, and we continue to do so today.
Good afternoon. I know most of you see that I'm riding around on my little BMW scooter. I have a red cast on my foot. I'm taking pain pills every 4 to 6 hours. But there was going to be nothing that was going to keep me from being here today. As you've heard, I lost my precious mother, my cousin Susie, and my cousin Tywanza. How much hurt do we have to have before people realize that guns kills people and they kill families? I've spent my life being faithful. I am a reverend and I'm a trauma chaplain that sees gunshot wounds and people hurt because of guns in my work. And to be someone that has to share pain, her own personal pain, from such a tragic thing, I don't want any of you to ever feel that. In the days after my mother's death, nothing made sense to me. After such an action of violent hate, violence of racism, I knelt in prayer more than I ever have before. I was sure that God had forgotten me and he was putting more on me than I can handle. I've searched my heart for answers, and I've found that answer with the people that I'm involved with Moms Against Gun Violence, every town, and I will be involved in whatever it takes to stop senseless killing in this world. Today, I stand proudly knowing that my mother is looking down and all the 8 people that were killed, the survivors from that shooting. I stand because it's time to rise, people. To rise from Chattanooga, to rise from Lafayette, to rise from Roanoke, to rise for the awful number of Americans that are killed by gun violence. My mother and cousins were incredible people, a people of faith. My mother took care of that church to make sure every corner, nook, and cranny was clean and available for all the worshipers to come in that house, just like the day Dylan Roof came with his racist thoughts and his racist heart and killed them all. I'm asking the politicians here in D.C., with whom do you stand? We can end this crisis, and I hope our political leaders will heed the call and join the overwhelming number of Americans who are working to put an end to gun violence. We can start this with basic background checks and other common sense measures that block dangerous people from buying guns. Thoughts and prayers are not enough, people. When the vigils are over, when the candles stop burning, we need to stand up and say, whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. To God be the glory.
Whatever it takes.
Thank you, Sharon. We know there is not one solution to curbing all gun violence, but there are steps we can and should take. Moms, survivors, all of us here today, we will remember in November, we will remember the leaders and elected officials who stood with the gun lobby when they should have stood with Americans. After today, we are going to keep this fight up. Everyone, stand up. I want to hear you say you're going to do whatever it takes. 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 Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Thank you so much, and thank you for being here today. We need to keep this powerful afternoon in motion. It is National Suicide Prevention Month. Half of all gun deaths in this country are suicides. We want to let survivors know and have our moms speak directly to their senators who voted against background checks in 2013, and they're going to read a sampling of the names of victims of gun violence since then. So first, to kick that off, I would like to invite Clay Lasher Summers to the microphone to begin the name reading. Clay was shot in the back at the age of 13 by an abusive stepfather. She later established a domestic violence shelter and rape crisis center in upstate New York. She's returned to her state of New Hampshire, where she continues to advocate to strengthen gun laws and prevent domestic abuse. Clay?
Hello. I agree. Thank you for coming. It seems fitting to me that I have the job of starting reading of the names, as I am a survivor for a long time of being shot. One of the reasons that I'm here is to talk about Senator Kelly Ayotte. She is my representative. I have seen her speak on a number of occasions. One of the first times when I was in New Hampshire that I saw the woman speak, when I was watching the news and I watched her not respond to Erica Lafferty. As a child who had been shot when Newtown happened, I envisioned every single body that was on that floor. And when my senator could not reach out and speak to Erica, I lost every sense of respect for her. How could you not speak to someone whose mother had been shot at a school where all the children had been shot? How could you not respond to that? So I have asked Erica to stand with me, and I have also asked Jen to stand with me, whose mother was murdered in Oregon. The thing with all of this, and the thing that I would like to say to Kelly Ayotte is, we are all here we could have our family members, ourselves, our best friends, our loved ones throughout our lives be shot. It could happen today. And she is not taking her responsibility to the people of New Hampshire, nor to the people of this nation. And I would like to publicly shame her. Just because it has not happened to her in her life does not mean that it will not happen to her. And all of us who work in this movement know that. So Kelly, I want to see you do something for the citizens of the state of New Hampshire and for the citizens of this country of which we are part of. Thank you. I have to read the names. I'm sorry. So I'm going to start reading the names. Denise Roberts, Jeanette Hardy, Mason Piera, John Mengo, Wayne Sander, Claire Orton, Tressa Green, Kim Thomas, Keith Thomas, Paul Castaway. Please hold up these names. Thank you.
Technical difficulties. Senators Jeff Sessions, Richard Shelby, and Lisa Murkowski. My name is Carrie Pennybaker. I am a gun violence survivor from Wisconsin. My mother committed suicide September 8th, 1979. I will never get to see her at all. I won't get to feel what she's like. I can't take in her smell. She'll never get to meet her three beautiful grandkids. She'll never get to meet my beautiful wife. I will never get to sit there and just tell her I love her because she was mentally unwell and had easy access to a gun. I would love to sit here and just hold my mom and tell her, I love you, but I don't have that chance. But shame on these politicians. Shame on them for not voting for the background check in 2013. I will do anything. I will tweet, I will call, I will get on Facebook, I will march, I will fly anywhere. I will literally do whatever it takes to make sure no one has to feel what I feel like. No one should have to go through life with the grief and the despair that I've got because I don't have my mom. There are names you will never hear, faces you will never see. There are tears that will never dry, and I'm not okay with that. I will do whatever it takes. I will do whatever it takes for these names. James Trawick, Otha Deal Davis, Marvin Marshall, Matthew Lee Ponder, Tony Aldridge, Jalen Scott, Leon Harmon, Lawrence Harris, Gary Golthy, Kevin Went, James Godzix, Zayden Young, Zariel Young, Marquise Pope, Samson Mulinax, Joshua Jensen, Michael Welch, Merton Gabriel. Don't just pray. Don't just send well wishes. We don't need that. We need action. We need you to do whatever it takes so this doesn't happen again.
Hi, my name's Tom Teeves. I'm here because my son Alex had to make a decision at 24 years old to save his girlfriend's life or save his own, and that's not a decision anybody should have to make. And in that theater in Aurora, Colorado, 12 other souls were lost as well. And we can never get them back. And we've had a lot of time together as survivors because we got to go through a wonderful trial. And all those people that I got to meet are terrific, and all those 12 souls, we will just never get them back. And probably 2 years ago or so, actually right after Sandy Hook, I wrote Senator Flake telling him about my son and how it was time to do something. And he sent me back a note that said that he was going to support me. This was after he sent me back a note that he was sorry that I was upset about Sandy Hook and supported the Second Amendment. And I didn't say anything about Sandy Hook. I have my own issues, right? And then he voted against it. So, and he actually knows my wife because mom's put about 700 grand into putting in ads on radio, on television, so we're not his favorite people. But I'm not really here to be anybody's favorite person. So we're going to read names of people that died. But what's important for whatever it takes is that the names that aren't on here don't get on here from here on in. Alexandria Eastman, Kenza Benzicor, Justin Garina, Shaylee Estes, Gaspar Colmenarer, Zinette Abdul Kennard, April Engel, Sexto Sanchez, Damon Yazi, and that's it.
Good afternoon. I'm Clemmy G from Tennessee, and I'm here to tell, I say hello to Senator Corker and Alexander and Senator Marco Publio. My name is Clemmy Greenlee. I am a gun I am a gun survivor from Tennessee due to the execution style death of my own son, only son. This is hard, guys, because, I mean, I'm with all of you guys. I just got to say that. I know I stick to what I'm supposed to say, but my heart I just have to say this. I just love every last one of you guys. And we must do what? You voted against background checks in 2003. And now I am here to tell you that we will do whatever it takes. I will read the names of Aaron, Sharon, Joe, India, Jackie, James, Menzo, Andrew, and Monique. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. My name is Jacob Moeller. My wife, Darshell. Would you like to say your name, sir? Pardon? Say your name.
My name is Tom McMahon.
I want to call out a couple senators. Dean Heller from Nevada in particular, we're from Las Vegas, voted against background checks. He should be shamed. Also, Johnny Isaacson from Georgia voted against background checks. He should be shamed. In particular, Dean Heller also, because of our particular situation, our daughter was lost at a friend's house who was playing with her father's gun that he left with her knowledge in a kitchen cabinet. So child access prevention laws in Nevada are completely broken. There was no charges, and we were told just an accident. Sorry. So Dean Heller needs to fix child access prevention laws also. And I'm gonna read some names of these people that should not be on this list. Wally Clanton, Edric Robinson, Randall Kennard, Rebecca Manning, Jared Smith, Joseph Duguay, Chester Lamb, Ashley Oglesby, Hunter Harbin, Dontavius Chapman. This is your list.
Just this group? Right here. Those three? Okay. Hi, my name's Tom McMahon, and our son Joseph was killed 48 days ago by a friend that he invited into his house. And the scene ended with my son dead outside our house, lying on the street. Every Town for Gun Control is a group you never want to join, but the work they're doing is really important. So thank you all for being here. I'm going to read some names. Richard Najira, Rodney Dorm, Charles Schroeder, and my son, Joseph McMahon.
Let me have that list.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Becky Morgan. I'm a Moms Demand Action volunteer from Missouri. I also lost my father to gun violence. I'm here to speak to my Missouri Senator Roy Blunt. Senator Blunt, you voted against background checks in 2013, and now I'm here to tell you that I will do whatever it takes for my dad and for the following names: Michael Rezka, Daja Brookshire, Alec McLeod, Rashaud Lewis, Jeffrey Cruz, Deontay Ballard, Medrick Kennedy, Bryant Walden, and George Blackman. Thank you.
Senator Grassley, my name is Rebecca Truskowski. I'm a mom with Moms Demand Action from Iowa. You voted against background checks in 2013, and I'm here to tell you I will do whatever it takes for Thomas Borkvit, Keanu Arnold, Andrea Harrington, Kumarian Jones, Jakiria Kofer, Joshua Hale, Paul Hicks, Lily Rogers. Thank you.
Senator Mitch McConnell, Senator Rand Paul. From my own state of North Dakota, Senators Heidi Heitkamp and Senators John Hoeven. I am Kathy Lee. I am a Moms Demand Action volunteer from North Dakota. You senators voted against background checks in 2013, and now I'm here to tell you that I will do whatever it takes for Lucy Zay, John Howard Logan, Gene Ward Jr., Divine Chambliss, Kevin Hatter, Donnell Hall Jr.
Senator Portman and Senator Vitter. My name is Laura Lewis, and I am a Moms Demand Action volunteer from Ohio. You voted against background checks in 2013, and I am here to tell you that I will do whatever it takes For Macy Bro, Jillian Johnson, Thomas LaValle, Daryl Holloway, James Bennett, Alex Prisby, Melissa Hunter, Madeline Rechtenwald, Blake Brewer, and Henry Nelson.
My name is Sarah Green. I am a Moms Demand Action volunteer from the state of North Carolina. Senator Richard Burr from North Carolina, you voted against background checks in 2013. I'm here to shame him. I will do whatever it takes for Jason Hagan, Misty Marion, Josette Beeks, Dwan Hart, Edward Scholler, Jamila Bolden, who is 9, Jeremy McCartney, DeMarco Watson, and Andre Scruggs. Thank you.
I'm calling out Senator Fisher from Nebraska, as well as my own senator, Jeffrey Flake from Arizona. Senator Flake, I was in the gallery in 2013 when you voted no on a background check. Laurie Haas and I stood up after the vote and saw you and all the good old boys down there shaking hands after it took us 2 security checkpoints to get through to the gallery. And we went from sad to mad, and we shouted, "Shame on you." And I continue to hold you accountable for the deaths that have happened since that background check failed. After Laurie and I shouted, "Shame on you," we were detained and had a 2-hour background check for shouting. Laurie might not like me to tell you this, but when she had to go use the restroom, she had to be escorted and she had to leave the door open when she used the toilet. So 2-hour background check for shouting, no background check for something that shoots people dead. So shame on them. And Senator Flake, as you know, I'm a fortunate survivor of the mass shooting on January 8th, 2011, when Gabrielle Giffords and 13 people were injured and 6 people died, including Roxana Green's 9-year-old daughter, Christina Taylor, who would have been 14 years old tomorrow. She's a 9/11 baby, and shame on them. So I will do whatever it takes in the memory of Warren Newton, Lamont Secret, Richie Ramsey, Fletcher Johnson, John Looney, Jamal Ray, Terrion Holmes, Terrell Brown, Tyler Childs, and Rosa Mendoza. We are not going away, Senator Flake. We are here to stay. Whatever it takes, we'll get the job done. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jenna Ewell. Thank you so much for being here today. This was my mom, Cindy Ewell. She was killed on December 11th, 2012 at the Clackamas Town Center shooting in Portland, Oregon. I'm proud to say that this last year, Oregon became the 8th state to pass universal background checks. But for those of you who did not, shame on you. We will continue to do whatever it takes for Octavius Jeter, Lancelot Ellison, Selena Lewis, Amir Mahmood, Keyshawn Gregory, Kent Taylor, David Pittarelli, Dalton Hopkins, and Dwayne McNeely.
From North Dakota, Senators Heidi Heitkamp and Senator John Hoeven. We will do whatever it takes for Sharon Connell-Rick, Samantha Maxwell, John Jacob, Willie Ortiz, Corinne Munger. And from Ohio, Senator Rob Portman. Again, you voted against background checks in 2013. We will do whatever it takes for Peggy Kostelnick, Diane Sneed, Kelsey Crow, DeAndre Park, Corey Sanderfer, Frederick McIntosh, Donna Rude, Dustin Moreland, and Brenda Walls. Thank you.
Senator Inhofe from Oklahoma, Senator Scott from South Carolina. I will do whatever it takes for Cedric Gilmer, Wayne Squires, Wanya Crawford, Robert Cicero, Garant Centenero, Mark Powell, Robert Marquez, Tyler Rogers, Orlando Malone, John Columbus, Reverend Clementa Carl Pinkney, Cynthia Hurd, Sharonda Coleman, DePayne Middleton, Ethel Lance, Susie Jackson, Myra Thompson, Reverend Daniel Simmons, Tyrick Grant, Kadena Brown, Wilson Chavez, Timothy Gentry, DeQuan Morgan, Candace Blakely, Mitchell Bradley, and Cyrus Hinton.
To John Thune of South Dakota. I'm going to read these names because you should feel ashamed of yourself for voting against background checks in 2013. I hope this makes you cry. Ed Thor Gar, Leah Cabrera, William Connell, Randall Cargill, Corey Romero, and Larry Jacobs. And from Tennessee, Senators Lamar Alexander and Bob Corker. Shame on you. Here are the names from Tennessee. Carson Holmquist, Randall Smith, Thomas J. Sullivan, Squire Skip Wells, David A. Watt, Sean Bolton, Kamal Stokes, Robert Armour, Calvin Fitzpatrick, Regional Davis, Frank Winnington, Thomas Watkins, Lawrence Tulford, and for Angela, and for Joyce, and for the 58 names that die by suicide with a gun every day that you will not hear. I will do anything. I will do whatever it takes.
I'm back to tell you I will do whatever it takes for the state of Texas, calling out Senators Cruz and Cornyn. I'll do whatever it takes for these victims: Albert Nelson, Winston Brown, Ingrid Garcia, Dalis Cox, Jackie Parker, Edward Harris IV, Kirk Chang, Antonika Latrice, DeQuan McLeod, Regina Diane Colbert, Jonah Jackson, Trinity Jackson, Caleb Jackson, Dwayne Jackson Jr., Honesty Jackson, Nathaniel Conley, Valerie Jackson, and Dwayne Jackson. And from the state of Utah, calling out Senators Lee and Hatch. For the victims, I will do whatever it takes: Shauna Smith, Tylese Smith, Monica Tapia, Jamie Salazar, Jordan Reeves, and Marple Miller. Gustavo Ochoa, Clifford DeAmpert, Devon Williams, and Jemai Davis. Thank you.
Senator Johnson, I am up here to say that we will do whatever it takes for Crystal Torres Tyler Renard, Mario Dancer, Jay Rue, Angelo Young, Jeremy Hollins, Battle, Cortez Winston, Henry Hodges, Stanley Wagner. And Senator Rubio, you voted, and I'm here to say, shame, right? I am here to say that we will do whatever it takes for Charlie Martinez, Jared Forth, Manev Deshi, Bentley Lenhart, Markeisha Phillips, Emmanuel Cabetti, Lebrecca Evans, Janelle Johnson, Deshaw Hogan, and Marvin McDonald.
I want to thank Senator Bennett from Colorado for voting for background checks in 2013. I'm a Moms Demand Action volunteer from North Carolina, and I will continue to do whatever it takes for Corinne Munger, for Marsha Watson, for Leah Cabrera, Cindy Arias, and John Jacoby. And I believe that that is the end of the list that we will be reading today. Thank you all so much. And don't forget, you can text FEEL to 877-877 to contact your representative and let them know that you will be doing whatever it takes. Thank you.